name is Tabitha Stevens, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to render an armchair. Now, the materials that I'm going to be using are just a regular mechanical pencil. You don't have to use a fancy metal one like this. You can get a Bic pencil that comes in bulk. I like to use 4H lead or HB. I'm also going to be using micron pens, size 5 and also size 1. I'm also going to be using Prismacolor markers, dark brown, blonde wood, and cool gray. Now, in order to render a chair, first what you want to do is you want to make up a sketch with your pencil. It's easy to erase, it doesn't have to be perfect. You do want the lines to be fairly accurate as far as the image of the chair, but it doesn't have to be specific sizes. You don't have to measure it or add a scale or anything because it's just a rendering. Alright, so what I've done here is I've already sketched out, and I've already actually gone over this with my micron pens. I used the 1 size for any of the detailed lines on the inside, the lines here, and the size 5 I used for the outline. Now, using a larger size pen for your outline makes the object stand out from the background. It gives it something separate, whereas the thinner lines on the inside make those kind of more detail lines rather than an outline of the piece. Now, after you have your outline done, you want to go ahead and choose your colors. And some people like to choose all kinds of crazy colors for their piece to make it pop out and be vibrant. I like to use natural colors, that way you actually see the piece rather than the color in the piece. So the colors that I've chosen are dark brown, blonde wood, and cool gray. And what I really enjoy about Prismacolor markers is they have a skinny tip that you can use for fine detail, and then they also have a broad tip that you can use for larger spaces, and you can also turn this to get the finer details, which I like to use the broad tip all the time because you can turn it and get those skinnier lines. Alright, so once you have your colors chosen, you want to go ahead and test out your colors just to see how they do on the paper. Now, I like to use, and I prefer to use, marker paper or vellum. I'm actually using a graphed vellum because the marker holds better to this paper. And what you want to do is you want to get your broad end out, and you just want to make vertical lines with your pen. After your vertical lines are in, since I'm blending these two colors, the blonde wood and the cool gray, I'm not going to give a whole lot of time for the blonde wood to dry before I put the gray over it, because then that won't blend it quite as well. It'll be a little streaky. As far as for the legs of the chair, I'm using the dark brown. Same concept, vertical stripes. In order to make it darker, you just overlap. So any space that I want to be a darker brown, I'm just going to put 1 or 2 more strokes over top. Same with adding any shading to the armchair, the upholstery section. I'm just going to take the cool gray, I'm going to run right over it where I want any of that shading to be. Just give it a few strokes over. If it's not dark enough, just keep going. Just layer different layers on until you get the desired effect that you want. Add a few little details, giving it some depth. Now, after this is finished, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go in with the thinner pen, so the the 01 size pen is what I'm using. And you're just going to want to add some detailed lines. And you don't want to do this before you do the markers, because then it'll just smudge the pen. The details won't be as crisp, and it won't look as good to your client. So you just want to go through, maybe add some stitching to show that it's an upholstered chair. Just a little bit, here and there. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be exact. just to give the general idea. Add some shading. You can even add some shadows under here to ground the chair. So when you're all finished, you're going to have a piece that looks like an armchair. You're going to see the shading, see the stitching. I added some creases here so that you could see that this is upholstery, not a hard type of material like wood or plastic. You can see how it kind of creases over the edge here. And the shadows underneath, as well as the shading on the arm of the chair. Now, rendering is important for many, many different career types. It's very important for designers, especially interior design. Any architects will use rendering all the time. Game art design, all kinds of professions. And this is something that you can use in everyday life. I think anybody has the ability to render, anybody has the ability to do art. And good luck on your renderings. I hope you all enjoyed.